So, hey YouTube, it's Venture Vin, and I'm back in my daily life going to work. I haven't been able to put any videos out since I've really been home on that first day, but I got a package in the mail today. I'm gonna open it with you guys. So I haven't opened it yet. Pretty wide, skinny, still sealed, still sealed, but you guys get to see what's in it when I open it. But before I open it, I gotta give you a little bit of a backstory of where this is coming from. So one of my must-dos on the trip, which I recommend this to everybody, is go to Joseph City, Arizona, and check out the Jackrabbit Trading Post, also known as the Here It Is Trading Post. Now this sign has become really famous, especially for the movie Cars that you might have seen. And the sign is portrayed in the movie Cars, although the rabbit is actually a vehicle, and all these rabbits up here are vehicles on the sign in the movie Cars. So this might look familiar to you from that. It also might look familiar if you've got the state series. These were the ones I was in the dance video where I'm throwing them. What I'm doing is that as this song is going through the states, each one of these is a state, and I'm tossing a state. But here it is, and this is known as the Here It Is map series, which is a not really to scale, but it's a renditioning, like an artist renditioning of each state along Route 66 and the points of interest. There's 8 of these, and I did carry these on my trip. So once again, we see the Here It Is on that. It's oftentimes mentioned in other maps and tour books and guides. Like there it is right there. There's an actual picture of it. And you guys are probably thinking, where's he going with this Here It Is thing? And in this book, the book I just showed you, by the way, this is my latest one I just got. It's actually pretty cool. It's called America's Longest Small Town, 2,451 miles. Now, unconventionally, I'm going to read from this one, Greetings, Route 66. The first time I saw this, I think, was actually in Carsland, in the little gift shop there. But I want to read you something here before I open up this box, and it's going to add meaning to it. So, this talks about, what I'm reading now, talks about the Jackrabbit Trading Post, also known as the Here It Is. So what it says here, and I'm going to jump a couple of paragraphs. When Route 66 came through, the town of Joseph City was just a quiet stop for services. After World War II, when people really began to travel, traffic increased through the small town. It was during this time that a hardy man named James Taylor built the Jackrabbit Trading Post in 1949. In the beginning, Taylor bought an asphalt shingled shack that had formerly been used as a snake farm, although he turned the snakes loose, which was the concern of the local people. They didn't like that, but he was transitioning into this trading post. So I'm going to skip down, and it says, but owning a trading post in those days just wasn't enough. Dotting the highway, they were a dime a dozen, and competing with nearby Geronimo Trading Post with its visual pulling power, the large decorative teepees, Taylor had to do something more. And something more he did. Joining forces with Wayne Troutner, owner of Four Men Only store in Winslow, the pair traveled Route 66 to Springfield, Missouri, plastering billboards along the way. Hopping rabbits paired up with dancing cowgirl for more than 1,000 miles, inciting travelers to stop at the Jackrabbit Trading Post and the For Men's Only store in Winslow. After all those miles, travel couldn't miss the huge yellow sign that simply said, Here It Is. It's paired with his famous Jackrabbit icon. So what they did is that they traveled up and down Route 66 and put up additional signs with this saying, Here It Is, Trading Post, and they would put like how many more miles you would have to go. So if you were 500 miles out, Here It Is, Trading Post, 500 miles. Here It Is, Trading Post, 200 miles as you traveled Route 66. So people had a visual cue and a distance where they started anticipating going to this, thinking these signs have been out here for many, many miles. We got to see what this is. And it's much like that with I just forgot the name of it. It's the drugstores. I just forgot the name of it. The big Trading Post tourist stop drugstore on the way out. I think it's in North or South Dakota. I just can't, I went there and I can't remember it, but they would have periodic signs like hundreds of miles prior telling you Walls Drugs. And the drugstore is a small part of it. It's just a big, huge souvenir stop, store stop, everything. But for miles and miles and miles, you saw these signs that said Walls Drugs, a must stop. Well, the signs for the Here It Is, now that Route 66 was decommissioned and I-40 came in, they prohibited or stopped or regulated what can be posted so many miles in advance. So they lost that effect. But let me get down. So I stopped with, Here It Is paired with the famous Jackrabbit icon. Goes on to say, obviously Taylor's tactics worked because the Jackrabbit is still in business today and long has since become a Route 66 legend. For 2 decades, Taylor operated the post until he leased it to Glenn Blansett in 1961. Blansett purchased the business in 1967 and passed it on to his son and daughter-in-law, who he eventually sold it to his daughter-in-law and son-in-law, Cynthia and Antonio I'm gonna mess up their last name. Let me just say Cynthia and Antonio. Last name spelled Jaquez. Jaquez. If you pronounce the J as a H, like instead of like George Jorge, it would be Jorez. If it's Hispanic, who run the trading post still till today. So what I wanted you guys to get from that is the Jackrabbit Trading Post came into being around 1949, and through its marketing and its what it offered has lasted through the decommission of Route 66. And part of that were these signs that no more exist. All these signs telling you how far you had to go. So I went to the Trading Post. I met Antonio. I didn't meet Cynthia, but I met Antonio, and it was on my westbound travels. And he and I got in a big conversation. These people are just great. People on Route 66, like I said, no book, no map, no YouTube video is going to perfuse or infuse the experience that I had or any of us have. You got to get out there and do it yourself. So I was talking to Antonio, and he showed me something that he does. And he showed it to me, and I go, we were talking about history, Route 66, we were talking about all the signs that used to be that are no longer there. And he showed me something he was making for somebody, and I said, I gotta have that. So with no further ado, let's do the unboxing. Gotta be careful with this knife. And if some of you might be able to guess what might be in here. I haven't seen this yet. I saw one that he did, and I said, I've got to have it. I got to have one of these. So what I'm gonna show you as I'm trying to, he's packaged it up very, very well. This is, he handmade this, what I'm showing you. This is his idea. I think one customer was talking about it, and if you go to the Jackrabbit Trading Post, you gotta have Antonio make you one of these. Wow, he really did a good job packaging this up. I gotta call him and thank him. I did pay for this. This wasn't, one of the little free gifts, but it was money well spent. Oh man, I don't want to rip this open with this blade. Oh, there it is. It's kind of like it's giving birth. Oh, come on. And there it is. All right, so I haven't. So what this is here's the Jackrabbit, and it's 552 miles. 552 miles from this house. From this house. So what we did, he and I went on MapQuest, and I mapped from my house, which I'm about 20-30 minutes from Route 66 in San Bernardino. So we mapped it going through San Bernardino, through the old part of Route 66, through Hellendale Route 66, down through Amboy, not just the 40, not just what MapQuest is going to say the fastest route is. We took our time and we routed it through all the Route 66 side byways and the original Route 66 to the Jackrabbit Trading Post. So if you leave my house right now you want to go to Joseph City to the Jackrabbit Trading Post, there's the he hand painted all this, by the way. He gets a piece of wood, he hand paints all this. So you have 552 miles, and one of the coolest things, he signs them in the back. And I go, once I saw this, I was like, man, and he made a little happy face with 66 signs, and that was the date. I believe 8/21, I might have been there on that date, or maybe a little bit earlier. That might have been the date he made it. But August 21, 2018, he put the face there of Jackrabbit. Antonio, like I can't pronounce the name, Junior, still hopping on 66. So I just thought this was a really cool thing to share with all of you. That was really cool. So what I'm probably going to do is put some eyelets up here, some eye screws up here, and then hang it from my garage over the KLR. But there it is. That's how far we are from the Here It Is. He did such an excellent job on reproducing the rabbit too. So thanks so much, Antonio, for getting that out to me. You did an awesome job. I love it. It's going to be one of my cherished mementos from my travels on Route 66. It's personalized from my house, 552 miles to the Jackrabbit Trading Post. So if you get a chance, don't forget it. Joseph City, the Here It Is, also the Here It Is Trading Post, also known as the Jackrabbit Trading Post. I am planning on doing some local stuff, not necessarily about Route 66, but some of the things that are in my local area, such as some air museums. I'm going to go to San Diego and look at some museums down there, try to get that out on YouTube for you folks. And I just want to say hi to everyone who's been following me. Hi to Antonio and his wife, everyone else on Route 66 that is subscribed. I know I've been inactive for about maybe a week and a half, but I'm going to try to punch more out there in the future. Like, subscribe. Don't forget to get out there and ride. Whatever your passion is, no better time than the present. And I hope to be bringing you guys more things from Adventure Vin as I go through my life's adventures. So take care, everybody. Glad to have gone out and done another video, and hope to have more soon. Bye-bye.